Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Bianca. Today I'm going to show you how I am making some Transformers wings, and specifically Bumblebee. Now this idea came to me thanks to @NoOneBroken on Instagram, and she asked if there was any way that we can make some Transformers costume that would be easy to do for Keali'i's wheelchair. I thought that was an amazing idea, so I am up for the challenge. And honestly, we are a few days in with me making some pieces for this costume. And I do want to say that I do not have a wheelchair, so I've been using this chair right here to kind of help me create the ideas to hopefully see how I can work the mechanics of all of these pieces. And obviously we are a few days into this project. Let's go back in time and let me show you what I've done so far, and then we'll meet right back here. Well, the first thing we have to do is pour one out for Mrs. Pac-Man, and by one I mean juice. But we're gonna be using some of her cardboard. So I used some of her cardboard to make the base of the door. And like I mentioned, I am using this chair specifically to make the doors to those measurements, and you'll probably have to do the same for your chair. I grabbed some cellophane wrapping plastic thing from Remainders in Pasadena, and I am going to use this for the windows. I used some double-sided tape to make this into a triangle shape and kind of make it a little bit thicker. I know that there are acrylic sheets out there, but I don't have any of that, so I'm gonna use what I have, and I have this. Plus, I think this will be a little bit softer. I don't know. We always use what we have, okay? I had also seen Wheels No Heels review of Disney costumes, and I really didn't want the inside of the door to be boring. So I used some of the black fabric from Mrs. Pac-Man as the interior of the door, and I glued that to the bottom of the door and cut it to shape. I also grabbed another slit of the yellow cardboard to cover the top section of the fabric and the bottom section of the window. So if you are in a car, the window isn't just right there, it goes, inside of the door. So that was kind of what I was going for with this. I hope it makes sense. But you guessed it, we are going to glue this right there to cover this little mess that we have. And hopefully it looks a little bit cleaner. Another cool thing that I really wanted to do and I totally forgot was to get one of those like portable speakers, the Bluetooth speakers, so that if you were to say, meet Bumblebee, you can play the music through Bluetooth, through the doors. So, if you do this, let me know, and I think it would look really cool. So the next thing I do is cut off a few pieces of more yellow cardboard, and I fold this up to be kind of like the door handle. So I really don't have any method to it. I just, if you see here, I just fold this cardboard into a shape that I think may look pretty good as a door handle, and round off two of the corners, and then I glue that on. Once I had the door handle where I wanted it, I cut off a little section of the window and glued the door together. I noticed that Bumblebee has his window kind of like this, where it's not all the way to the edge, because again, when you open a window, it kind of doesn't go all the way to the edge. I don't know, do I even know cars anymore? I don't know, but this is what I did. And you're gonna do the same thing for your second door. but in reverse, right? It's in mirrored so that you have one for the left and one for the right. The last thing I do is just curve out 2 of the corners of the door. The next thing I'm going to do is make the tiny wing. Bumblebee has these little wings on the side, so I'm putting this against some grid, like my cutting grid thing, so you can kind of see the measurements. Again, I don't give measurements because you're going to do this based off of measurements that you want for your chair or for your wings. But this is just giving you an idea of what I did. I had already made one of these pieces and I just flipped it. It's on another piece of yellow cardboard and traced it and cut that out. Once I cut that, I grabbed my scissors and just made a nice little curve on the point. From here, I start drawing some sections inside of this piece because I'm going to cut it out and put some more cellophane in there. I believe from the top section I drew a little point of 2 inches from the top to the bottom, and then from the bottom up I think it was like 1.5 inches maybe. Then I just drew a curve and I cut that piece out. And of course, would it be one of my projects if my supervisors do not come to supervise what I'm doing? No, it wouldn't. So the next thing is you're going to flip this onto the other piece that you had made and cut another section like this. But I do want to say, I recommend you make 4 of these so that you don't do what I did, which was make them after I had glued on some of the cellophane on it. Alright, and just to confirm, you should have 4 of these weird frisbee boomerang windows that we just made. Once you have all 4 of them, grab your cellophane again and tape this on the back side of 2 of them. This is going to be like another little glass window. When you are done taping, just trim off the excess. Trimming it kind of activated Teddy, so it was kind of like his playtime. So here's a little Teddy playtime break. Alright, playtime is over. So now that I have this taped up, I just cut a slit up to make it not all the way to the edge on the top, and now I have this little window. But if you cut 4 of these pieces, you don't have to do what I'm doing right here, which is trying to cut more pieces of it. But once you have all 4 pieces, you can paste those together to make sure that they look good on both sides. Finally, I get to paint. So with a little bit of black paint on a dry brush, I start painting some of the details and the scuffs that Bumblebee has because, you know, they're always getting into fights, so it's not a super brand new car. So I'm just trying to make the shape and the shadows that the car has. Yeah, and that's just what I'm doing here. I also grabbed a screwdriver to make scratches on the door. So I scratched the door and then would paint over it and kind of clean off some of that paint in hopes that you'll see the scratches a little bit more. You don't see it as much on the video, but you definitely see it on the door. Now, why do I have these jeans here? Well, we're going to repurpose these jean buttons. I already grabbed one from an old pair of jeans that I had used for my dandelion hat. So now I'm going to use some of these, which are mine. I just cut out this jean button and we're going to use this later on. So if you have some old jeans that you're thinking of getting rid of or that you just don't know what to do with, steal the buttons. You're going to need at least 2 of them. Alright, so now we have our door and one of our jean buttons. What I did was cut a small hole, or a hole big enough for this jean button to come through, on both the big door and this little window. And you can see how I'm setting this. I'm putting the little window inside of the door with the open section facing the back of the door. So what we're going to do is push the button through the front of the door and make the hole big enough for this little window to push that and set that inside of the jean button. So basically you're going to have the big jean button in the front and the little end of the button behind the little window, which will allow you to open and close the window. And here we are. I'm trying to show you what I had done because I guess I didn't record myself doing it, but I purchased some command hooks and I'll put that picture here so that you can see which ones I used. But there's one small one on the chair and then there's another one on the side of the chair. So I had created a track on the yellow cardboard that was inside of the door. And this was supposed to allow for me to move the door back and forth, so it would be kind of like a transformer, that the chair is changing into the transformer. But I was having some issues with that. The other thing was, when you pull the doors back, the little window was supposed to come down, but it opens all the way down, and that was another issue that I didn't want. So I tried gluing some Velcro on both the door and on the fabric inside of the door. But because the window was a little too heavy, it kept pulling my Velcro down. So that was another thing that I had to pretty much get rid of. The other thing that I was coming across was, awesome, I can move this back and forth, and if I figure out how to put the little window down, great, but how do I attach it to the top of the door? You don't see it here, but you'll see it in the doors later on, that there's a hole in them. So my thought was, all right, well, what if I just create a hole in the door and then we can put it on like makeshift handles. I'm unsure if most wheelchairs have handles, but I, was thinking that if they did, you can put them there. But again, it's just a difficult one and I couldn't figure it out, but I was trying. That's where we are here, and I'll see you in a bit. Hi, welcome back. So we are back to, oh, hello. Oh my goodness. Hi, G. Oh, wow. You're such a good boy. Well, we're back here, and as you've seen, I did a few things to make my wings and a few other things to make it work. So I have my wing down here, which I have to figure out another way to make it stay up. We can either keep it like this, and I apologize for the noise, I am outside. So we can keep it going like this. You can leave it open, or you could just, glue it or use the Velcro as I had been trying to. I also made this hole up here in hopes that I would be able to connect it to the top. But right now what I'm thinking of, and thanks to a lot of brainstorming, I hope this will work. But you can see I have this candy cane here. So this candy cane is connected to one of the PVC L's that I had attached to the back of this chair. So as you can see, I have this PVC pipe here. It's an L, and the idea is that by having that there, we should be able to connect the wing on this section, right? And then the wing will be able to stand up on its own. So I just need to go ahead and start connecting the wings to a PVC pipe, or in this case, a candy cane, because I don't know if I have any more PVC pipe, and we rarely use these candy canes, so I think that's okay for me to use. So I'm gonna do that in just a bit, and we'll see if it works. First thing was to cut this candy cane, and I needed help from my lovely assistant. And honestly, we didn't even match. Like, we didn't plan matching, but it's a happy accident. So here you go. We're a family of yellow. After we got that cut, I glued this onto the door. Okay, so I have some good news and I have some bad news. All right, so as you can see, this is holding up. It does have the PVC on the back side. You can see the candy cane going to that section there, and I didn't paint it just yet. So that's the good news. We can put that up there. There are a few things that if you're gonna make this, you need to keep in mind. If there's another way that you can attach this, I would definitely recommend, or maybe putting a few more zip ties, because you can see with a little bit of wind, it's starting to move, and that can cause a problem. It'll either fall this way or that way, and you don't want that to happen. All right, so the bad part about this, and I wanted to show you in this angle so that you can see what I am talking about, is when you take this off, right? Let's say you do want it to transform. I had to move the angle of the camera. You know how I mentioned that you can put a command hook right here and then another one down here so that it'll hold this piece up. It won't hold it because now we have this pipe here. So that's a bit of a problem. I am trying to think of another way to do it, or maybe put the pipe up higher and do a hole in the pipe so that is what this will, the track that this can go through. Well, now I'm gonna try that. I thought that I would be able to use my box cutter to cut into this candy cane. Yeah, it didn't work. Well, friends, let me tell you that it took me forever to just make this teeny tiny slit down here. So the odds of me cutting from here all the way down are slim. I think that would be more of a saw, maybe? I don't know. It's quite difficult to cut this, so I don't know. What do you guys think? I was hoping I could at least get this side done today. If I figure out a way to cut it, it should work, because then that way this would be this track and you don't have to do this. So I'm gonna try to figure that out, and I'll hopefully be able to show you the reveal. Well, I am extremely dramatic, and I just went and asked my assistant if he could once again make an appearance in my video and help me make a hole in this candy cane. So as you can see, I had already spray painted it. And here is the other side for the other door. I don't know what tool this is, but I will ask him, and I will put the name of it here so that you know what I used to cut this open. Once I cut it open, I glued it. Now it's ready for the reveal.
Check the mic and make sure it sound right, boys.
Unbox. Roll out.
It sound right, boys. It sound right, boys. It sound right, boy.
Ta-da! We are done, and honestly, I feel pretty good that we figured out to just put a PVC pipe, or in this case, a Christmas candy cane outdoor decoration, and just making a hole on that to have that open and, be the track and the thing to keep the wings up. I won't lie and say that this was super easy, because it was not, but I'm just pretty happy that we kind of figured something out at the end. As you see, it isn't as perfect as I would like it to be, but I hope that this can help you in making something similar for you or your little ones. As you see, I just used my bumblebee beanie and dressed in yellow because Transformers costumes for adults are quite expensive, and I'd rather just make it and use what I got. Just for fun, let me know who is your favorite Transformer. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure to give it a like and consider subscribing to see more videos like this one. If you'd like to support my channel, I do have a Ko-fi account, and I'll put that link in the description below. If you do make this, please make sure to send a picture on Instagram. I always love seeing your makes. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you all next time.